Hello, everyone. So today we're going to do another one of these special voiceover versions of our series here. This is one more in our edition of our Berserker series, and in particular we're going to be playing a Coglin Berserker. So to be very clear, I'm watching this with you. I played this live at a natural speed, and now I'm watching it here and commentating as I see as we move along here. So Coglins, well, first I'll just talk about Berserkers in general. Early game, our goal is to survive all encounters. We basically only have Berserker for a little bit, which is our A ability, and so you have to make sure to only engage in safe positions, usually hallways, and just kind of work your way through. You pick up items, armor pieces as you see them. In the case of Coglin, which we'll get into a little bit more depth as time moves along, you can see we use two one-handed weapons. Here we encounter Sigmund. So this one you have to berserk through, or you got to run away. There's no other option. In my case, I decided I was going to berserk through it. It's probably one of the most riskiest decisions in the whole game. It's like a truly a win or die situation, so you got to be very careful about that. With Sigmund in particular, because he can throw down some confusions and you don't have like Trog's hand sometimes yet, it's truly scary because he can confuse you and then you can just be dead, that kind of thing. Anyway, Coglins, they have a unique little set of things to account for beyond just aptitudes, which are favorable to axes, by the way, are that they rev up, and you get benefited by using two one-handed weapons. So in the case, I started with axes, and so my goal with a Coglin Berserker is to quickly ramp up my axes or axe tangential weaponry. And as you can see, I dropped that dagger pretty quickly and got it into at least a whip, which is the cross-trained item of the maces whips of axes. The Coglins have to rev up their weaponry, which aligns well with berserking strategies typically. You'll be attacking a lot of things at once, so you're revving up. It starts slow, but it gets way more powerful than... I don't know if it scales to be equal or better than Minotaur, but it certainly feels like that. But it takes a few ticks of action to rev it up there. And you got to be careful. It does stay active for a little bit, but if you don't encounter something quick enough, it will drop it off. So got to be careful there. Cool. So I just picked up a pretty nice axe there. I think it's a +2 of hand axe of freezing. And so basically with Coglin, you're just juggling your best two axes, or depending on your cross training, perhaps a really good whip or something. Up and up and up until you're probably... the goal here is going to hopefully be to get double broad axe and just pump it up. One kind of consideration with the Coglin aspect is that weapon attack speed is, I believe, averaged from between both weaponry when you're doing the two one-handed strategy. So you have to be very careful about picking heavy axes, because they'll not just attack upwards because they're slow, but they'll increase that average. And so that could be a good thing. It could be because you have a really fast weapon with a heavy, the fast weapon counteracts the heavy, and then, I don't know. The point is, though, is you probably don't want to mess with that kind of stuff, and so you want to keep it pretty accounted for. So like we see here, a war axe, which is the next level up from hand axe. So I'm going to juggle it all the way up. And you'll see a couple of times in this edition, this series, it's really annoying how wielding management works with Coglins. I would hope it would align to how you manage rings, where it's like you have two rings and you have extra rings on your inventory, and you pick like up or down or whatever, your left arrow, right arrow. That would be the sensible way of doing the same situation with the Coglins, but you actually have to type the letter that is assigned to that weapon. And because you kind of... Coglins, I haven't mentioned yet, you can't swap weapons quick. So you're basically stuck with the weapons you're using in the moment. You can't like hot swap to range weapons and then back, and then it doesn't work like that. And so you don't often like go out of your way to like reassign this axe to be A and this axe to be B. And so sometimes you're just like trying to swap weapons, and it's like it's a capital M and a a lowercase q or whatever it gave it, and so sometimes that can be quite annoying. The other thing is, you saw there was a really nice spear there, like a +5 spear of freezing. The thing with spears, though, is they attack from range, and then let's say you have an axe on the other hand, it doesn't. And so the spear will keep you away from the creature, and you're only attacking with one weapon. So it's a trade-off. It's like, well, if you're going to go spears, you should probably want 2 spears, so that both are attacking at the same lock point. And it doesn't matter when they're just about to run, like they're a melee enemy and they're going to run in there. But if they're not, like they're ranged, you will have to manually enter the melee for the axe, because otherwise it's just going to auto attack with the spear from a space more. So that's a very careful consideration with Coglin. And then the other consideration with Coglin is that you can't use an amulet or rings as a Coglin. That's really bad, especially early game. Where it comes back to you is at XL 14, I believe it's 14, and you'll be able to pick between one of 3 different, they call them gizmos. It's basically like a custom, let's call it amulet ring situation. There's random elements to the generator for it. But you only get to pick between 3 different built gizmos. I haven't played too much Coglin. Like I've played let's call it like 4 or 5 deep games of Coglin. In my opinion, the gizmo mechanic, like the selection of gizmos, is very unfortunate. Even though I'm clearly a melee berserker craziness, you can and often will get gizmos that are for spellcasters. And sometimes it's like 2 of 3, and then the third thing is like not that strong, but at least it's not for casters. And so, I mean, you have to live with what gizmo you get, but it's a really bad feeling when you go deep with a Coglin. You get, you've sacrificed the ability to use rings and amulets and all this stuff that has all the spice of your character, and then you get like a really trashy gizmo, and then you're living with that. It's like with Demon Spawn, where you're building a certain way, and then all of a sudden your mutations evolve in such a way that it's like, okay, I'm basically a Demon Spawn without mutations that are good for me. Or sometimes it's worse. It's like I've lost the ability to use a helmet because I got this thing that I'm not using, as a demon Spawn. And so there's a feeling of that with Coglin if you're not easy. We're at XL 11, so we're a little bit far away from arriving at our gizmo. I think I end up getting it around like early Lair. I'll have to double check though. Maybe it's like late dungeon. But just to preempt that, because it's going to be a quick menu, I play this live, I look at it, I make a decision, I move on with my life, so I'll preemptively talk about it. Is that what I end up getting the choice from is a Dazzle, which is a Coglin only ability, although there's Dazzle in like I think there's a Cloak of Dazzle or something, unrand, but it's like things that you dodge get like kind of like hexed temporarily. So one of the choices is going to have Dazzle and some other interesting attributes, but like nothing crazy. In terms of, I think there's like a fire on it and like a plus like core on it or something. It's pretty boring and bland. And then I get the second one is a caster one, and it's like your spells regen mana back quicker, and like it's a weird like battlemage-y type ability that's Coglin unique. And as a berserker, I'm not doing spells, and so I kind of ignore that. And then the third one is what I'm going to pick, and we'll see it pretty briefly, and then it'll be on my character for the rest of the game. It's just like a solid, like all the rings, all the amulets choice. It has like clarity, reflect missile, this resistance, that resistance, this resistance. It's like R-Elec, R-Poison, are cold. It's something like crazy like that. So it'll be a quick thing on the screen, in 3 levels, but it's when in doubt, take the boring but solid option for Coglin is the point. So when we see it, you'll see it, and it'll be quick, but we've covered it. So anyway, while I've been talking, just been picking up things as I see them. As you can see here, my axes are pretty boring still. I'm still using those same 2 axes since I last referenced it. My hope is that I'm starting to rev up, get good scroll knowledge, get good potion knowledge, maybe get an acquirement quickly, and really unlock some good weaponry or something. Maybe get some training books or something. I just got shafted. This was a scary moment because it's like I've been shafted and I have 2 red creatures, including the Entropy Weaver, I believe it's called. Yep. And it's like, oh no, I'm shafted. There's no up. I can go down if I have to, but let's find my up. And I believe this was a pretty significant shafting because I with any sort of character, I tend to stop at 11, and I don't even think I had arrived at 11. So going all the way to 13 was pretty significant. Yeah, I was at 11. One thing with Coglins is you're not using shields. There's actually a moment where I forgot I was a Coglin and I pick up a shield for a moment. It's later on, but whatever. I immediately put it off because I'm like, wait, what? Oh, I'm a Coglin. You got to remember that, and so there's a little bit less defenses with your build. So that's a consideration, because I was going to say it was one of my crutches, but it's not a crutch to use, a good shield. But like, you usually don't really lean into the 2-handed weaponry unless you're a Formicid, because you're using your good shields, because shields are so great in this game, so great. Just reducing the variability of the damage intake just makes your ability to make decisions and time to make decisions much better. There's going to be moments in this game where crazy stuff happens, and I can tell you it would have been a lot less crazy had I had a shield. That's all I'll say. But there's some crazy stuff that happens. So yeah, just kind of identifying a way. I wonder if I go to D12. Typically with like Berserkers or like really strong melee characters that have good resistances and armor by this point, I might dip into like 12, sometimes even 13. Because you can sometimes get some good itemry before Lair, especially if you don't like have an Axe of Flaming yet or something. If you really want to have a Hydra solution, sometimes you go a little further. Yeah, I'm not sure what if I do here. I guess I didn't. But we jump into Lair. We're at XL 12, and so we're getting closer and closer. We're halfway to 13, for example. So when you're playing, if you're used to something like a Gargoyle Berserker, or like a Minotaur Berserker or something, Deep Dwarf or Mountain Dwarf Berserker, with Coglin you have to take it more careful because of the whole rev aspect plus lack of shield. Things get rev up slow, and so you have to know you can last longer, and you have less defenses because there's no shield. So not only do you have to last longer, but you're not set up to last longer, so it's a more tedious balance. Often people who are jumping into Coglin for the first time will just like die because their assessment of where they can cut the fight off is much tighter. So that's something you have to remember. And I don't believe I have our poison yet, so that's even worse. And like I'm trying to fight a Hydra and I don't have flaming yet. It's like my key kind of enemies of Lair are not accounted for yet in my solutions of how I'm killing things. So got to be very careful. Working my way through different identifications. I'm really trying to find my acquirement at this point. Once you establish your curing and your healing and maybe like might or something, You then shift your concentrations toward the scrolls. You get your teleport. You try to, maybe you get a blink. That's nice. But you're really trying to find your requirement. You got to be careful, though, not to read your requirement too early in case you want to really make sure that the game knows you're an axe wielder, for example. If you do it too early, it'd be like, I don't know what kind of weaponry I should give you, so I'm going to give you a short sword, or something crazy that's like, okay, that just ruined my day because now I have to take this gold because you gave me a caster neck and a short, like a mace, and I don't know, something, a talisman or something, because you didn't give it time to know you. Because once you read the requirement, it's locked in. But if you just leave it unread, truly, like you haven't even read it, it will adapt to the moment you read it. It was interesting. I saw it was a heavy quick blade this early in the game. I mean, I'm not gonna dual wield here. Quick blades. I've already committed to axes, but it's like, oh, that'd be cool. Dual wielding a quick blade, Coglin, maybe your stealth, with Dith or something. That would be kind of fun to try out one time. So, did I? Yeah, I found a plus one hand axe of Alek. It's like basically the same as the war axe, but it won the trade because I thought like maybe having the same attack speed would the average would then become the baseline hand axe attack speed. Maybe that's better for like triggering Alek faster, or freezing things faster. So I don't know. It's tough to say. I'm not too advanced in the Coglin lore, but it felt like the right choice. Excuse me. Hiccups. Hopefully it doesn't get to carry on. Oh yeah, that was a scary sight. All those sheep. I'm like, oh, back away. I don't want to be slapped with no shield. But then, you can stare dance it out. Especially if you don't immediately berserk, you can like make a decision, and then if it's like, I can finish this with berserk, well, there you go. Oh, here it is. So auto dazzle, R fire, all core. That's cool. Then the next one was regen MP whiz slay. I mean, that's cool, but I'm not a battlecaster, And then the last one, R elect, R poison, R core, clairvoyance, resist missiles, or reflect missiles. That's just a solid like chunk of like, you just got a bunch of rings and a bunch of amulets all stacked on one another. It's not fun. You don't get like dazzle or something, but you take it. Now I've got R elect, I've got R poison. Clairvoyance is cool. I can't be like confused and stuff, and the reflect missiles, like I'm wearing a reflect neck, although I don't get the shield +5, but whatever. So there you go. We talked about it earlier. There's the result. Yeah. So the lack of defenses, also in this case, the lack of like early game broad axes or like war axes of value, really slowed down my my tabability on this this particular early game. Where are we at? We're like just under 20 minutes through. I mean, we're layer 5, 20 minutes. That's a fast game compared to like caster types. But compared to like the Minotaur, I'm probably already clear an orc, maybe starting my dungeon, part 2, with like dungeon 12 or 13 at this point. But you have to take it a little slower with the Coglin. See, like a Minotaur would have just like berserked through all that, but we had to pull back at least, get some health back with our regen and our will. This is also more scary typically because of the lack of R elect. There's often the electric dogs here, and it's just like, oh god. But I already have R elect now because of my gizmo. So I do have to care for like the fire dogs, but the Arlek ones are just they are whatever. See, like here could have killed a lot of people, like 2 Arlek dogs, 3 Arlek dogs at the same time, basically. It's dangerous. Well, I didn't get a flame axe. I at least have the freezing. Freezing is effective on like snake-like creatures. It's no cutting your heads off, but it's something. Yep. So I'm hoping for acquirement, and that was the bad news. I've got all of my scrolls identified, and none of them were requirements. So at this point, it's like, oh god, we're going long with acquirement. We're not going to get one anytime soon. And I'm like looking at my axes, like, geez, is this what I'm dealing with? Okay, I hope I get some axes in Orc. So here we're entering Orc. You can see I'm pretty tab heavy now. Like you can tab some good stuff. Although with level 2 Orc, it's very scary. Don't tab. You got one exit that's safe right now. I see this and I'm like, oh, this is one of those ranged Orc 2s where they're all in like a kind of bridge looking space, and they all have like expos and stuff like that. So I start clearing upwards just in case I need to escape another time. It's kind of interesting. There was a hand axe there. I didn't even check it. Must have just missed it. But anyway, you can see these all these expo ranged crossbow bow types. But I'm seeing these broad axes. That's exciting. I at least have a base that I can build on if I do give up on the I'm gonna get a +4 broad axe from this Orc kind of store or something, you know. But at least it's a broad axe. It's better than, like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd have to do the math, but it might be better than a +3 war axe or something. Depends on the attack speed and all that kind of stuff. So don't just shove yourself into a big ball like that. You can put like your hand of Trog in there, but you still won't have enough will to overcome that crazy number of caster types. Plus the red guy, he's pretty scary. So that's why I decided to Berserk. I'm going to kill what I can kill, and then I'm going to start kind of going away, resetting, at least breaking the sound barrier from like whatever's in that like final castle. I get marked here and I'm like, get out of here. I don't care what's upstairs. It's better than what I have down there. But that was a very scary moment. I kind of just stare danced it up. Here's that like bridge thing I was talking about. So nothing much here. A bunch of scrolls, cool. Unfortunately, no like acquirement or anything, but you know, I'll note what I want and I'll buy what I want. Potions, to be honest, not too much greatness here. Just you know, curing a mite. The magic isn't really relevant for us. A bookstore, and it's like, oh geez, I just got a pretty dead Orc. I got 2 broad axe spaces otherwise, and you can see that demon blade there, the +11 demon blade. It's like, oh, if only this was earlier in the game, I could have swapped swords, because Coglins are okay with swords. I do take a look at it because I'm like, oh, isn't that crazy? It's actually not too much damage, but to be fair, I'm not like pumping decks and I'm not training and all that kind of stuff, because it's based on your training. So that's like that much damage on a completely untrained longsword. So it would be way more if I had longsword training. So like, that's a pretty tasty longsword. You don't see too many like that. And so now I'm back to dungeon, clearing away. This was actually a scary moment. I hadn't realized that there was Urg there, plus all that slime. It is what it is. I look at this, 1 flat at 44. I think I do compare that. I'm not sure if... I think I just... yeah, I just swap over to the war axes fully, I think. Yeah. But this whole time I'm like, okay, now I'm probably going to have to build my own broad axes. Let's get some enchant... I think I don't have any brand weapons yet, and so it's like a tough one. So this is Pearl Dragons. I don't need our poison. RN is pretty irrelevant unless you're going into crypts or like some weird edge case, and MP4 means nothing, and so unfortunately these are just +3 Pearl Dragons of nothing. So I think I'm using like a +2 strength, +2 dex chainmail or something, +3 or something. So I am in the market for a good chest piece, body armor, whatever. For sure. Oh, this was scary. This was a distortion. Or no, it wasn't distortion, but anyway, Sanja is very scary. I always get afraid of Sanja. You can literally lose the game because of encountering a Sanja. So we find a blue glyphed broadaxe. It's very exciting. What kind of broadaxe is it? Maybe it's a flame or freezing, or it's just a +1. So I do drop one of my broadaxes, but it's like, geez, wish you were like a flaming or something. It's much more rare to get a branding than it is an enchant weapon in terms of scrolls. So that we got shafted, and so I kind of explored past it when I returned back, just because my dungeon guide had told me, oh, I'm already on D13, but really it's because I was shafted down there. What was I going to say? Yes. So begins my collection of chests. You're going to see I carry a lot of chests this game, or bodies, whatever phrase you want to use for that slot. Here I get a War Axe of Flaming. That's like an immediate equip. I think I just pop it over... Yeah, I'm like comparing like what's better, just a regular War Axe or heavy War Axe, and it's like, okay, I'm going to keep the heavy on. And now I'm trying to, I think, drop it. Yeah. And I'm like, what do I not have? Acquirement, brand, da 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 da. So then I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can go buy some stuff and eliminate things that I haven't learned myself. I don't think I go and buy them just yet, but it was a thought in my head, I think, at this point. Got a Roxanne, pretty scary if you're not prepared, so then I swap over. Of course, the Josephine is here, but whatever, everything's here. I'll just zerg it out. My evasion isn't amazing. Oh, here's the acquirement. So I'm all excited. I'm going to kill whatever I can kill, and then I'm going to read that acquirement. This was kind of a scary moment, but I think there was some server lag, and it just like kind of killed them, and I wasn't paying attention. So like I think I note these chests because I'm like, I want a better chest. All right, read the acquirement, I believe, at this point. And some int boots, War Axe, elect. It's okay. Manual of throwing or gold. And I have plenty of gold. So it's like, well, it's not a broad axe, but it's certainly better than what I'm wielding right now. So I'm probably going to go with that axe. I'm taking a look and I'm like, what do I do? Do I care about boots? No. Gold is aggressive right now, so... It's just a temporary axe until I hopefully get a nice broad axe. I believe I swap out the heavy war axe, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So at least now my attack speed for both my axes, that average is kind of tight now. And yeah. Carrying on with dungeon. At this point, my axe game is pretty strong. Like, I can pretty much tap most things now. I'm now concerned with, like, well, I'll always be concerned with bettering my axes, but now, oh, look at that. Got Abyss. Level 3 Abyss. Dungeon 15. This is probably a death sentence. Am I going to end the series right here? Am I going to die? I mean, D15 quality character entering Abyss 3, trying to find an escape. What's going to be around the corner? How am I going to die here? Oh no. Oh, thankfully. I got the 1% chance that I found a natural exit in a you've been banished mode. And I just berserk through this, and I get paralyzed. It's like, oh my, all this caster junk is on me. And then they come out again, more Rakshasas. But I make it through it, and I think everything that didn't kill me. You can never anticipate getting banished around the corner. That's for sure. So yeah, now I've finished D15. I've done my Lair, I've done my Orc, and so now I'm thinking like, okay, I need to prepare for my S branches. Is there anything to buy? Let's go buy whatever I can buy that's of value. That's me going, well, that's not a rev scroll, and I'm like, I don't care if I read a silence. I want to make sure that this is a brand axe. Sorry, a brand scroll for my axe. Unfortunately, it was a silence, so I wasted a silence. Whatever. I mean, silence is good for a berserker because you can control when you read it. You just you do your hand of will. Then you read your silence, and then you shut down whatever's casting around you. But anyway, I was just really trying to get that broad branding. So anyway, we jump into Spider first. I believe the other option was Shoals. My thought was I'm not a very defensive creature. I don't want to have to be chasing into water when I'm fresh, so I can zerg through the spiders that I encounter, so I'll do Spider first. I do have our poison, and I can't be confused, so the confusion ones are less impactful to me because I have the clarity from my gizmo. So my thought was okay, Spider's going to be the easiest it's probably going to be at this moment compared to Shoals, so jump in there. So I finally got a brand, and it unfortunately puts a heavy, and I'm not a fan of heavy when I'm not fully deeply trained into broads. There's nothing wrong with a +9 heavy when I'm trained to 24 in axes, and it's Zot, and I want to make sure it's oh, this was scary. I'll note this. I'm barbed, so every time I move, I take damage, but I'm on fire, so every time I don't move, I'm going to continue to take fire damage. And so it's okay, I'll take the barb to get rid of the fire, and then hopefully it drops out. I'm still barbed, and then we got Asterion around the corner, and so I'm I gotta take a healing potion, and look at this guy. I'm gonna have to do Trog's hand to get my will because he can cast on me. I'm gonna do a healing potion. I do the enlightenment scroll to get more will, so he literally can't cast at me, and he still gets one off. And so I'm I gotta get up. I can't make it to my exit. I'm gonna jump here and just berserk my life through this moment and hope there's nothing more, and then I can heal myself. Emergency over. Pretty scary. The good news is I found a healing potion right there, so technically -1 healing, +1 healing, whatever, and let's zerg out this Asterion. He has a broad axe, so it's okay, cool. And also, if you notice, there was a broad axe up and to the right, and so now I get a +2 spectral. I'm not a huge fan of spectral things because if you're in a hallway, it doesn't spawn. Plus, if it's not a spectral, you're not using a spear, sometimes it's hard to attack through a spectral. But it's a +2, it's better than what I'm using, so I pop it on. But I'm more concerned with dealing with this, resetting, and trying to see what that axe up there is. What is it? Flaming. Yes, please. Thank you very much. I think I just swap out the War Axe, I believe, because my theory was like, oh, now I have a spectral, that must be better than a War Axe of flaming. I'm not sure if it is or not, to be honest. But anyway, now I know for sure I can enchant this up, because this is a solid, like, other than killing like oofs in Zot 4 and 5 or whatever, the flaming broadaxe is like good to go, so I can enchant that up. That being said, it would be cool if my second one is like a draining or like a freezing or I don't know, something like that. So I'm always on the lookout for some more branding. And so now I'm just buying, I'm like, oh, I should probably buy my enchant weapon now. I do have a solid target, so it's like I'll just go pop over back to Orc and get that for me. And back to Spider. So yeah, Spider 3. This is where I took the stair down, so I kind of already was here, but just briefly. But yeah, as you can see, the clairvoyance really settles out Spider. Like all those purple ones, whatever they're called, they're completely irrelevant because I can't be confused. Otherwise, they really suck. It's one of the weaknesses of Berserkers is getting confused in a bad spot and then just being there, being confused, being stupid. Anyway, I pick up a +4 broadaxe. I'm like, okay, well, that's a better branding than I think my other backup. So it's like I can just better enchant level. So I could, if I get a branding, I can just brand the +4 instead. Whatever, So Spider 3 done. I don't know what I'm looking up here. Whatever. Spider 4. Be careful with Spider 4. You never want to run in there in case it's like a crazy, like, trap style spider situation. Usually Spider leans on the idea that like the end has so many spiders that you can't like charge in. This was scary. I just kind of casually without care, like I could have berserked the whole time and just like dealt with it, but I thought, oh, I can just swing at it, and I just miss every single time and I almost die. So like I think that's if it's not the closest to death in this character, it's like second. There's a moment later in depths that we'll get to that I was like, I'm pretty sure I died here and I'm in a different alternate universe now where somehow I got saved, but like that's probably the next closest moment in the whole game. Unless I've forgotten something. Something was so horrible that I've put it out of my memory. But we'll see. So I brand the +4 and I get heavy again. So it's like, Jesus. Because at this point I'm like, I really want to get rid of this Spectral. It's just it is what it is, but I'm not a fan of Spectral, as I described earlier. So what I'm noticing here at this point is like, oh, this is the Orb of Destruction ending, where it's like a little, like, let's call it an island room, surrounded by water, surrounded by orbs of destruction summoning dudes. It's just, there's a lot of them, and like, unless you have like aggressive health and aggressive will or whatever, like, or like repulse missile or something. I'm not sure if repulse, but like you can see half my health goes from one pop of the Orb of Destruction, and it's like if you got more than one of their casting, you're out of luck here. You're just two shot out of nowhere. It doesn't matter what you've done so far, so it's very scary. So I'm trying to come around from the sides. The worst is getting confused while one of those is trying to pop off on you. Like, boom. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. I'm so desperate to get that thing in front of me, and it even hits me, and I almost, that's not as close of a death, but like there's another scenario where it's like, oh my. If I hadn't summoned my buddy to kill it while I was taking the hit, I probably would have died from a third hit. So successful wins like this are spoiler alert, successful win are surrounded by moments of close death. It's very rare to have a game where it's just like, I never was close to death ever, you know? So it's crazy when you don't have fire resist how powerful like a fire application on you is. I'm just about fully understood of scrolls, so I'm pretty soon going to swap over to finish off my potions in terms of identification. You know, ticket priority based on what you need to find over whatnot. Oh, it's here. I noticed that because when I was fiddling with the weaponry, I accidentally capped my axe training off at the min delay of a war axe, and so I realized this whole time I haven't been training war axes past 16. And as you know, if you do know, broad axes need 18 min delay, and so I'm like, oh my, I've just been screwing myself over this whole time with my axe training, because normally I just leave it on, you know, even past 18, and so I'm assuming things would have been a lot smoother this whole time had I not accidentally clicked the, you know, I probably was like trying to hit an S for the S weapon, but I hit like I had the weapon like a war axe highlighted, and I pressed S as in skill train to this level, and that's probably what happened. But yeah, got a brand, so I'm gonna pop it on. I think the heavy, and I got a freezing. So now this is a good one. It's better than the +2 spectral. I've now got at least theoretically a final 2 weaponry, so now I just need enchant weapons. This can be scary. You get pushed off your stair. I just really want to kill everything in my path. The secondary scariness is that they're spear users, and so they're not collapsing in on me, and if I'm not positioned in the right spot, my cleave is not hitting both of them. That was bad. Yeah. Okay. Now I have an invis guy popping off on me. It's not fun. But yeah, shoals can be very scary, especially if you don't have swimming or flying. Getting trapped in the water can reduce some of your defenses. Not having the mobility that and escape angles that those types of people have can be annoying. And, you know, you have to live as a primarily melee. You have to live on the wall blocking. So I popped this acquirement, and it's probably the worst acquirement I've probably ever seen based on being a Coglin who's using axes. I have a worse... and I get a second one as well. This one's a little cleaner. I keep getting these worse axes. I got 3 of them, actually. So I pop off on some training manuals, but otherwise that first one was just trash. It was basically gold or nothing. So good news on this game, I got I think up to 4. Maybe I get more later, but I have at least 4 acquirement scrolls acquired this quote-unquote early. But 3 of them were all nearly complete trash in terms of interest. I mean, I won't complain of getting a manual of dodging and a manual of axes. It's just like, it'd be cool to get some cool armor, you know. I'm already living on Coglin defenses, which, you know, no rings, no amulet. I got a okay gizmo, but it's still like I want value out of my armor slots, and I'm just getting served these generically bad axes that are worse than what I'm using. And like shape-shifting stuff. It's like, what? Yep. So anyway, we're clearing our way through Shoals 3 of our second S branch. This can be scary, getting your water locked. Like your stairs locked by water. But the clairvoyance is nice against alteration effects. I don't know what you would classify that as. And now I'm into Shoals 4. You kind of want to set up a clean starting point. That being said, don't push. Shoals is very scary to push. It's probably worse than any of the other 4 or 3 S branches. Like here, I think this is a scary moment where I'm like, oh no, I gotta get out of here. I committed too hard. I was successful in getting out of there, but it's like, oof. I have the Glock or whatever his name is. Just Berserk through that. And I've established one downstairs, but it's kind of like landlocked. So I have to establish a second one. I look back up right at this moment. I see, oh, it's not actually landlocked. It's just there's some shrubbery in the way, but whatever. And as we can see here, we're dealing with like a tower scenario where it's like shoals, but they're like the runes will be in one of these like 9 little circular shapes. The other ones will have various value inside, but often scary creature collections. You got to use your edges to the advantage, and be careful not to overcommit. Try to stick, like all shoals, stick to your stairs. Shoals is very tempting to leave your stairs, but then there's so many things in shoals that will either snipe you with their javelins and whatnot, or they'll stop you from escaping. Like there'll be the things that like barb you. There'll be the things that confuse you, mesmerize you, shut down stairs from like waterlogging, get on you like those birds. A lot of spear work, which can be very Ricci, very Christina Ricci. Anyway, like these guys barb you, all that stuff. So you just kind of try to leash them where you can feel safety. That being said, I didn't struggle too badly. This was a little out of nowhere. I do have RLX, so that was fine, but like any other character would die there. And you grab your rune, you call it a day. Always check to see if you got anything cool. Like that war axe looks pretty cool, but it's like I think I'm past that. Although I think I get it. I think I go to get it, because that the flame plus the plus strength, I'm like, maybe it's better. I'm not sure if I pop it on though. It does lower my average attack speed. So I think I use it for a bit. I think my logic was like I need to enchant my freezing up a little bit more here, so it might be temporarily better. I see those gloves, it's whatever. I don't think I even put them on because I'm like, I'd rather have Dex than plus N, I might like, yeah. I think there was other gloves of hurling throughout the game, and I'm just like, whatever. I'll just keep the Dex. I'm fully enchanted with armor too, and remember, this is not a character that we're going to expect some shields later. Sometimes you save your requirements for shields, so it's like, I'm not going to need a shield, so I can make sure at least my gloves and my cloak, if you haven't found a better one, are all enchanted with its AC, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so we're just kind of item managing now, and now I'm searching out will, because it's like I do need at least one more pip of will to feel comfortable starting in Elven Halls. You want 2, but you want a minimum of 2, but you really want 3 or 4 to handle Elven Halls. So I find it on a chess piece. I sacrifice the, let's call it, defensiveness of my natural chess piece, and I put on a will one. And my hopes is that I get some good value here in Elven that can maybe give me some natural will and good defenses or whatever. Maybe some enchant weapons from the weapon hall, for example, in Elven 2 to get that freezing axe up. Remember, I don't have access to rings and necklaces, and so I'm not, I don't have like a will ring upcoming, So, this is crazy. I got shafted into the weapons vault, and I have to teleport out. I've got to, I think I fear. Oh no, I put a blink just to get out of range of things. I think I even heal potion. I get teleported into the vault. At least it's not everything. So I did another teleport. It kept me in the vault. The good news is I could kind of clean that up and heal in the corner for a little bit. And I'm just like, Jesus, get me out of here. But I kind of establish, I see the exit is right there. And so I'm like, okay, I'm revved up. I got my guy with me. The exit's there. Let's try to make this happen. Let's get out of here. I berserk it. And I just make it. I see the funeral tran is occurring. I don't particularly want to kill myself just to get to a funeral portal. That being said, if I see it, I'll do it. Hey, I got a blink scroll rewarded, or not rewarded, but at least recovered because I used a blink in the first escape there. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go into the funeral. I can heal up and I'll take a look. What do I see? I think I see gloves, pair of polished gloves, the manuals or whatever. So I'm not gonna like force it. I think I do try this. I don't think this through, actually. Look how dangerous this is. The second they escape, they're going to be popping us everywhere. We're going to be hitting those Zot traps. And I didn't account for them also summoning things, which then pop the traps. And so it's like, oh my, I'm getting weakened. I'm slowed. I'm out of Berserk. So I blink away. And then I teleport, I believe, immediately. And I just cross my fingers and hope. I think I even heal wounds here. And thankfully, not only was I blinked away from them, I wasn't blinked into an existing vault here. I heal up, and it's like, okay, well, the vault's open. Things might be spread around. I'm going to clear this like, I don't know, Zot 5, where everything's teleported away. Just try to find the things around and then work my way to the vault. If I'm gonna waste a blink and I think a healing potion and like a teleport, I'm gonna get the value, you know. Just try to avoid engaging where all those traps are. I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise. Now I get a healing potion in here, so at least it's an equalized damage to my consumables. But it's like, okay, was it worth it? And then I look at the gloves and it's like, yeah, it's worth it. Regen, our fire, and strength on the gloves. Yeah, I'm happy with what happened here. But it could have been bad. Could have been real bad. I could have just gotten like gloves of, you know, RN or something, you know, some junk. But I was rewarded. And then I look at this and I'm like, I think I can kill this too, even if it's just for experience. But like getting those mutation potions would be cool. I don't know. I'm also tempted to be like, I would like to just use Piety to just get a teleport scroll back. I don't know. But it gets very tight. Look at this ghost. He's living. That's all I'll say. So, you know, let's just get some scrolls. Whatever. At first I'm like, oh, I'll pick up the sword. But then I remembered, oh, A, it's a great sword. It's two-handed. B, I'm a Coglin. So I just immediately drop it. And I'm out of here. Oh, and then it's the ghost from the original vault. I'm like, oh yeah, forgot about you. All right. So now I'm going to reconnect myself back up to Elf 1. Good news is, you know, my Elf 2 is basically done, so when I come back here, I'll get those enchant weapon scrolls, and that'll help out my freezing axe. Actually, I just stay here. I'm just going to finish it. There's usually 2 enchant weapon scrolls, at least, in the weapons vault. Sometimes there's a brand weapon, and of course there's like the elves who sometimes are equipping dangerous weapons, and there's the animated weapons that are going to drop themselves once they die. So if you're lacking like a quick blade or some enchant weapons, this is a very good solution to helping out your weapon game. It's also notable how big the weapons vault is. Teleporting in the weapons vault on D2 or Elven 2 can be very dangerous if you haven't accounted for that, because it's a random distribution of where you're getting teleported, and if 65% of the ground space of Elven 2 is the weapons vault, you have a 62% chance of getting landed at the weapons vault. So it's scary. I think at this point I'm doing the math. I'm trying to figure out, should I swap to my freezing yet? That kind of thing. I don't believe the math was in my favor yet. And now I'm going to return back up and clear out my Elven 1. Not too bad. Pretty boring stuff. Just watch out for those casters. Here's my trove. What is my trove? Hopefully it's something achievable. It is. Dun, 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 dun. Am I going to look at it? I think I'm just doing a bunch of item management. Alright. What is my trove? A +2 golden dragon scales. And so it's like, well, the mission of my game currently is trying to get good body pieces. So am I going to sacrifice a golden dragon scales just to see the trove? I don't know. Anyway, I see that there's my perhaps, yep, it's the end of Elven 3 and I don't want to get blasted. So I back away and try to recover my situation. It's pretty dangerous, as you can see. Very dangerous. Summon a guy to help, hopefully distract. Just fun fact, when you see that arrow and the green crystal icons, it's trying to say that there's like a store to your right. Like, look where the arrow goes, and there's going to be a store with like an X, like X marks the spot. I don't usually force it, but like, here we go, look at that. You can see there's the X marks the spot. It's just a little fun little thing you can see sometimes. I see the chainmail here. It's not an amazing chainmail, but it's like the better version of the chain I'm using because I'm forcing the will for Elven. So it's just like, cool, I guess I'll buy it. I have all this gold, nothing to buy, so I'll just buy this temporary solution that's a better version of my temporary solution. Cool whip. Not whips today, but it's kind of cool. You get anti-magic, you get disrupt, and you get some will. Yeah, I might have swapped to it, but it was so expensive. I'm like, I'm not going to commit all my gold just to have like a short, like, extra will pip for this current little spot I'm at. You know, I'm very happy with my war axes, or my broad axes, that is. Another store, things to buy, whatever. At this point, I'm chanting up my freezing, and I'm like, is it better now? 43 at 0.7 versus 40 at 0.7. Now, one's flaming, one's freezing, one has strength to it. I think I make the choice to swap now, so I'm wielding it. Or maybe I wait. Maybe I wait on another one. Who's to say? Another store. Phantom mirrors, cool. Whatever. So all that's left is the final Elven spot, and so here comes the scary part. So now it's all about leashing out. I'm looking to see like alarms. Can I like alarm myself, mark them out, and get them all running to me? No, so I'm now going to have to use this corner for longer than I feel like it, just to get them slowly out and, you know, into a convenient, safe location. A lot of the elves in the vault will have special items on them, so sometimes you'll see like a yellow bracket or like a blue period or something in your like walkover. You know, that symbolizes that one of the items here is a, you know, specialty item. I believe yellow means rand art and blue means unrand art. in the item listing. Yeah, like this evening star is, I believe, an unrand. Although it's labeled like a rand art, I'm not sure exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's it's a rand art, unrand art, which is short for an non-random artifact. So I'm just leeching one after the other. With Elven, a lot of the value comes out of like amulets and rings, and so I'm kind of not going to get that as a Coglin, so my hope is that maybe I get like a cool axe or something. So then I see like this axe, what is this axe here? It's a broad axe of something. So I'll be interested to see. I take a look, and it's pretty boring. It's not just boring, it's bad. It's a +0 broad axe of like RN and noise. It's like, what? Who would ever use that? Yep, so as a Coglin Berserker, most of the things here are completely useless. We'll take a look, though. You always take a look. Enchant up that broadaxe. I'm comparing if it's better now. I believe at this point, it must be better. Yeah, I finally switch it. I even drop it. I must be confident. I don't even look at that cape. I'm kind of surprised. Why didn't I look at the cape? My game was weak. Yeah, so I'm gonna freeze frame here. I guess I didn't give myself enough time to inspect the ending and do my little ending, but just a summary: we did our dungeon, we did our lair, we did our orc back to our dungeon, and then we did our S branches first. First our spider, and then we did our shoals, and then we've just finished off Elven. We're doing pretty decent with our weaponry for a Coglin. We've kind of now finally reached like dual wielding broad axes of like an ideal setting. I think it's fiery or flame and freezing now, which is pretty solid. Our armor's all right. All game I'll be flipping around with my armor. We'll get that through though, but reasonably good resistances. Feeling confident. We're not like unstoppable, but we're doing well, and so we're gonna jump into vaults next, and we'll see how things go with our Coglin Berserker of Trog. So stick around for next episode where we'll carry on with the character.